How do you think in terms of, let's just say, Julius Randle back, OG Anunoby back, Knicks competitive in a second round series, take it to 6-7 games. It's clear they're right there, but they don't get over the hump. How would you like to see the Knicks pursue things this offseason in that scenario? From your perspective, do you want to see them aggressive on players like a Paul George, or you look at a Minnesota with the Karl Towns, everybody keeping an eye, obviously, in Philadelphia and other places? Would you like to see them be aggressive there in Cleveland? Or would you say, hey, let's run this back. Let's see what we can do over a full season with OG Anunoby. Let's see how far these guys can take it.
I think you just broke it down pretty good, and you more or less said the three names, which, obviously I follow everything you report and everything that gets said about this team from Brian and all the other national media. Those are the three guys. I mean, their dream scenario, of course, would be Embiid saying, that's it, I'm ready to go and do my thing in New York, which, if that situation presents itself, I don't think there's much of a conversation. The other two are more interesting, and I think they're interesting for different reasons. With the Towns thing in Minnesota, I think, and you look at the Minnesota Timberwolves, I believe they are now 9-4 without Karl-Anthony Towns since he's gone down. Their offense has struggled, but then again, their offense kind of struggled all year. Their defense is still top 5. And with their ownership situation being, extremely messy, and the potential for them to want to cut costs this summer, what would be the price tag to get him? I have always assumed that Julius Randle would be a part of any potential deal. Maybe that's an incorrect assumption on my part. I don't know. You would know better than me. But either way, I think that's interesting, because if you can theoretically get Karl-Anthony Towns on the cheap, I don't know what that looks like. You probably have to at least take a meeting on it. And then with Mitchell, I think that's an interesting conversation, because you look at how it's worked with Garland in Cleveland, two smaller ball-dominant guards, and I think the whole hasn't quite been greater than the sum of the parts. Meanwhile, here you have Dante DiVincenzo here in New York. What more you could possibly ask of this guy, I don't know. I mean, again, the two guys who have more three-pointers than him this year are Steph Curry and Luka Doncic. So, and he's averaged 20 points a game since OG and Julius went down. He really is an ideal fit. I think next to Brunson, I think he's an ideal fit if you have OG Anunoby as that number one lockdown defender, to have Dante DiVincenzo be as your number 2 guy, getting the passing lanes. He had 4 steals last night in Miami against the Heat. So, and I think, and again, you correct me if I'm wrong, you know a lot better than me, but I would not think that there is any scenario where they're getting Donovan Mitchell on any kind of cheap, relative cheap, anything that would cost the whole kit and caboodle there. So tough conversations, but do you have them? These are all-star, all-NBA level players. I think you have to have the conversation and then see what it looks like from there.
Yeah, you certainly have to have that conversation. Just 2 quick thoughts. Towns, I'll continue to say it until he retires or Leon Rose and the group are not running the Knicks anymore. There's always going to be a degree of interest there in the Knicks and Towns, and it's just a matter of, do things align in a way that makes sense for everybody, Minnesota, Towns, the Knicks. And Donovan Mitchell, we know that the Knicks were very strongly interested a couple summers ago, and they didn't get there. Now, if the opportunity presents itself again, look, my guess is, I'm assuming they take a look, but I don't know, guessing, if their interest would be as strong as it was a couple off seasons ago, if that situation presented